And I kind of wish the next one I had played a little bit longer in the mix, but it's Travis Scott and Goosebumps, the Home remix. Or is it Haim? Home? Haim? Haim. Home? Haim. Hey, what's up? This is Laidback Luke, DJ and producer, and today I'm gonna take you into my thought process and track list of my year mix. And not only that, it's a little bit of a year review as well. I know. I said this in my previous video. Next vlog, I'll be back with some producer stuff. I'll be back with my 5 favorite plugins at the moment. But I will save that for 2022, probably in the next vlog or the upcoming vlog. But make sure to subscribe right now to not miss out. It's been a while since I did a personal year mix. Before we go into the video, it might actually be handy for you to click the link in the description to the actual mix on my SoundCloud for you to listen to the tracks and the sections I'm referring to as we go through the mix. I didn't put any audio in this video just for copyright reasons. Now, what I think is important in a year mix is that it should always take you back to that certain year. Say if I would listen to my year mix of 2017, I want to listen back to it and think back of all the memories I had in that year, and this is what music does, right? I will take you through the full track list right now, including my memories, including a little bit of a recap of 2021. Let's go in. Here we go, track number 1 in the track list. It's Sleepnet, a bit of a weird track. I actually thought this was Noisia, but it isn't. Number 2, of course, big year for vintage culture and a big year, super big year for Shouse with Love Tonight taking over this year. 2021 was the return of the Swedish House Mafia as well, so I have this awesome mashup by DJs from Mars in the year mix, and that lifetime vocal is definitely something that stuck in my mind this year. Number 4 in the track list is one of mine, is my collaboration with Boulevard called Cielo. And this track takes me right back to my first show back at Space Miami. Such a huge honor. Mind you, this was September 2020, but we released it in 2021. Sprinkling a little hip hop in there on the next track, Da Baby and Roddy Ricch, Rockstar. And then, like I said, vintage culture, huge year, Free with Roland Clark on the vocal. Absolutely a sure shot this year. Faithless on the next one also made moves. And if you think it kind of sounds like Medusa in there, that's absolutely right. What a great move. Inna di Dance. And taking it to Masked Wolf, Astronaut in the Ocean, the TCTS remix, which is a little bit houseier and the perfect transition to go from that proggy housey sound to a houseier sound. And I vividly remember playing this out at HQ, which is at Ocean Hotel, and I just thought it was a funny wordplay, playing Astronaut in the Ocean at Ocean Resorts in Atlantic City. This hip-hoppy housey thing ties nicely in with the next one, the Sala rendition of Lemonade. From this hip-hoppy vibe, I'll continue for one moment with Lady B, Soon Not Later, which this track was a huge one for my label Mixmash this year as it caught on to various playlists and we got a ton of streams on this. Unexpectedly, next track is my absolute highlight of the year. I scored a #1 trifecta American dance #1 track with this one, Laidback Luke and Raffi, If There Is Love. Shout out to Total Smash Records, shout out to Srirachi. This was unbelievable for me, such a blessing. Navos, Believe Me, obviously huge for all the reels and TikToks for 2021. Continuing with this house section in my year mix, we're gonna take it a little bit more piano house right now, where Monday roars and Rachel Siegel blew me away this year with their track Maybe I Should. What an incredible production. Shout out to King Tover, a buddy of mine, as it got released on his Kingdom label through Hexagon. Next one up, DOD, Every Step. This is a track that marked my spring and summer for this year. Burns, which has that same type of like chord progression going on in there, a similar type of feel, not really piano house, but definitely one that was big this year. And then, I'm sorry I had to put her in, Cardi B and Up. It's just something that will remind me of 2021. Listening back to this track, I would be like, oh yeah, that's 2021, so I had to put that in there. But hold up, before we continue, if you're enjoying hearing all of this backstory, if you're enjoying a little bit of a year recap as well, make sure to give me a like right now, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Okay, let's dive back in. Now more time for like the housey house, deep house type of section in this mix. Fisher, of course, Just Feels Tight, huge one this year. Into Squid Games, and more specifically the Z mashup into a huge track as well. Probably the track of 2021, Acraze with Do It To It, of course. Shout out to Acraze for landing in 2021. Incredible breakthrough. Similar type of tom programming in my VIP remix of my track with Roxu, Over and Over, next. And so my synth in my Over and Over VIP remix ties nicely into Listen to De Año. It's the Rivas and Botangi mashup of Vine, but mashed up with the framed rendition of that Missy track that went viral this year all over TikTok. Shout out to Miles Medina, who was actually on the routine that did that routine. Drake always big for the year, coming back with DJ Khaled, and I figured I would just utilize my neural mix and just pick out the acapella of Popstar next. After that, side piece, Put Your Back in It. I was working on a remix for Heather Bright, and she said, oh, this is a good master reference for the remix. And you know what? I've started using this track, even up until now, as a mastering reference of mine. So this style, the Put Your Back in It, into my collaboration with DJs from Mars, Call It House, is very similar. The energy, the housey vibe. A shout out to Isabel Catherine for this amazing video she made for the track. And mind you, I never really pay attention to key. What I just do is switch keys right in between of the mix. My priority in a mix, and even in a year mix like this, is always energy and genre first, and then key. So next one up is a big one. Skrillex and J Balvin in the Ghetto, making a cover of the original by David Morales, In the Ghetto. If you don't know it, look it up. A classic next, and when you look this up, obviously you'll remember how this went viral this year. Stromae, Alors and Dance, which I just use it as a little tool, into where we now go from housey chunky into
deeper house, not tech house, but deeper-ish house.
Lee Foss, My Hump, King Arthur and Bounce next, which when I played this out this year, and thank God I was able to play about 1/4 of the shows I could this year, but King Arthur Bounce really works well on the dance floor. The houseiest of house right here. John Summit, big year for John, breaking through immensely. Big track as well, Make Me Feel for 2021. Into the Show Me Love remix, which I've just played out every single set, and which has that housey feel as well, the Who remix of it. And now here comes the transition in the mix where I want to go from housey into even kind of like the slap house Brazilian bass type of realms. And this bootleg Ray Isaac did of Montero, Lil Nas X, which obviously was another year as well for this, ties nicely into Sneaking. Ed Sheeran in, obviously Bad Habits, huge track for this year, but I had mashed that up with my Whistle release, Tribs and Bertie Scott on the collab, which got released with Sony Germany and was huge, was tremendous this year for me. And I kind of wish the next one I had played a little bit longer in the mix, but it's Travis Scott and Goosebumps, the Home remix, or is it Haim? Home? Haim? Home. But that transitioned well into some Alesso doing a little bit of slap house with Korzak, Going Dumb. Going from Alesso to Alan Walker, you would have expected it to be a slap house drop, but it's the Brook remix, which I love. So a little bit more of a future bass remix, which bumps the energy up and gives me a good excuse to go into Alban Myers AAA, which big shout out to Alban Myers, because for my tribute episode, my Way Back Luke episode to Sweden this year, which I did for One World Radio, I was on Zoom with him. He helped me a lot, giving me some Swedish dance music background and history, and he had sent me this track and I love it. Okay, so from here in the mix, I want to build it to something more tribal. This is because we're going to end up at Peppas, which obviously I needed to put that in there for this year. But this next track, Chemical Surf, Pararam, I remember I was at Cascade's DJ set in Las Vegas this year, enjoying myself, grooving, and he dropped this, and I was shazamming in the club to see what it was, played it ever since, and it was big for me this year. What was also big this year was the most streaming artist of the year, obviously is Bad Bunny, so I had to sneak wow, that's a difficult name. Yona Guni. It's Yonaguni. Into the tribal sound of Tiesto, Umid Oskan, and Tom Hio, Be Something. And I'm using those synths to give me a good excuse to go into the twisted house sound of Black Suede, which still has that tribal feel in there, which finally makes us land to probably the biggest track of 2021, Farruko, Pepas, which takes me back immediately to my first festival of the year at Beyond Wonderland Festival, which, what an incredible time. One of the highlights of the year for me. Farruko, Pepas, basically 2012 Dutch house with a Latin vocal, so I was so happy that this broke through this year. And I've mashed it up with DJ Snake, You Are My High, which I sent to my wife at a certain point because shout out to my wonderful wife, who is my high. Jengi, Bell Mercy takes me back to the writers camp we had in September in Amsterdam. I met Jengi there. He was there to make music with me as well. And then it was Seth Hills that showed me a video of Diplo playing this at Kapdag, opening his set with it. And man, Bell Mercy, if you don't know it, listen to my Yearmix, check it out. Yvonne Polka, whom my daughter of 7 years old pointed out to me this year, the video with the grooving cat in there, and ever since she showed me that, I was waking up with the track in my head, and occasionally we'll also sing that in the car. So as you can see, it's a super personal Yearmix, which I'm so happy I can share this with you and share my stories as well. Shout out to my fellow DJs, Shermanology, back with a vengeance this year with a houseier sound, Boys in the Club, straight rocking, into Mike Cervello, straight ballin'. Gave me a good excuse to probably play the biggest pop track of this year, and I just used the acapella. Did I use the acapella? No, I think I started with the acapella with my neural mix and then went into the actual track. Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber stay into this massive track by Cash, who broke through in 2021. Before this, he's been doing his rounds in Brazil and has really made a name for himself in Brazil. But it was Sicko Drop that I almost played in every set this year. Doja Cat, these artists are that big, you can't even have a 2021 without mentioning them. I'm currently working with Craig Demek. Craig, who's actually Mech, he's been helping me with my A&R this year, specifically to revamp my sound a little bit. He sent me this remix by Armand van Helden, which massively inspired me this year, so I had to put that in my Yearmix as well. Next up, 6 Need to Know featuring Wolfgang. I really needed to find an excuse to tie that into David Guetta and Becky Hill, Remember. Dub Dogs, who in the slipstream with vintage culture broke through massively this year. You see them on every playlist, and I had a collaboration with them this year. Now I've put the VIP remix in my Yearmix because this is the sound I'm going towards in the next year. Going into the chunkier house section again, Noizu, Disciples, and Moya, Catch My Love. Love that vibe, love that sound, and big year for Noizu as well. Into this crazy Max Styler and Friend Within track, Everything to Me. Love this style, and I'm working towards this type of style as well. Biscuits, Wait a Minute, same type of story. Into, can we just agree that Beggin' by Maneskin was huge for 2021? And this track was the perfect segue for me to go into a little bit more type of future rave type of sounds. So as a sort of live mashup, I combined Beggin' with Love Generation and Solardo. Did I say Love Generation? Love Generator, who is Calvin Harris, of course, into a massive remix by Oliver Heldens of Roger Sanchez, Another Chance. Into the Future House section, David Guetta and Morton, Kill Me Slow. And I remember I was in Miami earlier this year to DJ, and before my show I went to see David Guetta play, and he played this, and it just felt so amazing and so right on the dance floor. That type of vibe, that type of sound. This will forever bring me back to that exact moment. In similar vibes and similar energy, my collaboration with Gattuso, Never Alone, which we've been holding out on for, well, almost before the pandemic, and it got released this year. Illenium, big year for Illenium, of course. We could safely say he fully landed in 2021. And I was there to do an official remix for Sideways. And although Swedish House Mafia broke through this year, the overall sound was really poppy. A lot of us all of us fans who were into the original Swedish House Mafia type of sound were a bit lost for words until Axwell leaked the Stockholm version of It Gets Better, and man, that has been in my sets ever since he leaked it. As I'm going to try and get the energy down a little bit in this year mix, Oliver Heldens' remix of By Your Side by Calvin Harris featuring Tom Grennan, another masterpiece by Oli. And what's a year without The Weeknd? It is no year, so I had to put One Right Now in there in a mashup, which I originally did in a radio mix. I did a live mashup and it fitted so well with the Anger Dimas track that I made it a full and official mashup, and it's here in the year mix. Number 3 track of Vintage Culture in this year mix. Huge year for him. His remix for Paradise was massive as well. And then I'm briefly taking it a little bit more techno because I do want to play some Dark Channel in here as well. Astrology, Somebody to Love. I remember dropping this during a strictly techno set, and it was amazing. And what also was amazing was releasing Sabotage by my techno alter ego Dark Channel, shooting the video, finishing off the EP. It was definitely a special experience for me that'll always take me back to 2021. I also did a couple of very deep house type of shows. Gotta give a shout out to Alexander and One Hotel in Brooklyn for SiriusXM Chill, where he had me play a proper deep house set. And without actually skipping to Rebelski, which is the track that reminds me of that time, this was March 2021. Where Do We Go by Harry Choo Choo. This one I actually also played outside of deep house sets, and I even dropped this on a main stage into the last track of this year, where I finally got to discover Chris Malinchak's tracks, which I played out at Alia Beach Club because they really wanted me to have this type of Chris Malinchak sound. It was also incredible to drop these type of tracks in the section in the area I was at Electric Zoo, New York this year. Such an incredible time. All right, there it is, my explanation and thought process behind my 2021 year mix. Make sure to check it out on my SoundCloud right now. And I probably won't catch you before the new year, so wishing you the utmost best for 2022. Let's hang in there. Let's keep on producing. Let's keep on enjoying life. Let's keep on being healthy. And I will catch you back here on the next one. Until then, L's up.